Hi, my name is Igor, and I'm professional Agile coach. Welcome to Agile Fundamentals. Have you ever wondered why your sprint retrospectives suck, is ineffective, or just waste of time? Well, I can share with you the reason behind that. The reason is it's poorly facilitated. In this video, I will help you to understand how to effectively facilitate sprint retrospective. As mentioned before, many teams fall into the same trap, having a boring, time consuming, and wasteful sprint retrospectives. The reason behind it is it's poorly facilitated. So, for the purposes of this video, you don't have to be a Scrum Master, you don't have to have a professional's facilitation skills or anything like that. I'm going to share with you what do you need to know to facilitate an effective sprint retrospective. Let's start with some facts. No one likes the sprint retrospective because people in general don't like to improve. They already believe they're perfect, they already believe they know everything, and they already believe that they don't need to change anything in their way of work. Well, unfortunate. That's not the case. How? Because even if you are the best football team on the planet, you need to go and train. Otherwise, you won't be the best. Sprint retrospective is the same. So, the sprint retrospective is the place where you and your team needs to identify a process improvement or something that you would like to do differently and better in the next sprint. So, that's why I like to call it lessons learned with a purpose. For a sprint retrospective to be effective, you need to start with having a template. If you're only having a chat, discussing, or just endlessly, waffling on your sprint retrospective, it's going to be pointless because no one will take a note of what is something that needs to be improved, what do you want to change, what do you want to continue doing as you're doing that great, or anything like that. That's why I suggest have a template. On my screen, you can see a simple template. It starts with start, stop, and continue. What we as a team would like to start doing, what we need to stop doing, and what we would like to continue doing in the following sprints. I have imaginary people here with me. That's Tom and Jessica. So what you need to do is, I suggest, find a visualization tool. In my case, I use Miro board, but you can use Miro or anything like that. As long as you can share your screen and as long as your team members can follow the same screen and fully focus on that, that's great. The second thing is always start with start doing. What do we as a team would like to start doing? In this case, I'm just going to add that for Tom and say, from Tom's perspective, we need to start doing daily meetings so we can stay or remain synchronized. That's one thing that the Tom would like to start doing. When you go through your team members like Tom, Jessica, or anyone else, keep it like that. Then shift it to stop doing. What you and your team would like to stop doing. What didn't work for you really well in the last sprint. From Jessica's perspective, Jessica would say, I would like us to stop being late on the meetings. That's one thing that will hold everyone accountable. And that's one thing where your discipline needs to play a huge role. So, again, that's one thing of the things that you can stop doing. When you go to your team members and when you basically put down on a piece of paper, or in this case, sticky note, what you would like to stop doing, then shift to continue. What is the things that you would like to continue doing? I can say meeting at 9 a.m. This continue doing for some people is a waste. It doesn't give any value. But I do believe personally this is a valuable field because when you know what you want to keep doing or continue doing, you can do more of that because it's working. So now when you know that this simple template like start, stop, and continue is the time to share with you the second most important thing. The second thing is Timebox. Timebox means maximum amount of time allocated for specific activity. That means that if this sprint retrospective is 1 hour, make sure that this activity of putting down on a piece of paper everyone's feedback or thought takes 20 minutes, no more than that. The reason behind it is if it remains endless, you will miss the opportunity to identify the process improvement. 20 minutes, no more. Second step, or the second part also that is 20-minute long, should be discussing about each one of these. I want to hear more from Tom or more from Jessica what they actually mean by starting the daily meeting so we can be, or having the daily meeting so we can be synchronized, or stop basically being late on the meetings. Just some observations, like what they actually mean by that. That's another 20 minutes. And then in the last part, or the 20 minutes that remain, I would like my team to basically extract one process improvement for the next sprint. For example, what we should start doing is having the daily meeting. So we as a team can agree upon and find a consensus, because you will have multiple of these sticky notes with the different opinions. What would you like to start doing? One more thing that I highly suggest, do not go more than one process improvement per sprint. Many process improvements and your team will forget about the work and focus on the things that you would like to change. So you want to balance. You want to balance between value delivery on one side and process improvements on the other side to make your team effective. Now, when you know that, I highly suggest engaging the participants. You can engage them with open-ended questions or close-based or close-ended questions, however you want, but keep them engaged. Keep asking Tom what he thinks about input from Jessica. Keep asking Jessica what she thinks about input from Tom, and etc. And at the end, make sure that at least one process improvement is extracted from this activity. If you don't have process improvement, in other words, if you don't have something that you commit with your team that you want to change in the next sprint, your sprint retrospective is not effective and you didn't achieve the purpose. Let's do the quick recap. Every sprint retrospective requires a person who will facilitate that. That person should come up with a template. In the link below, I will share with you a Miro board where you can find more than 100 templates. You can combine, you can experiment, you can do whatever you want, as long as you achieve the purpose of the event. So make sure you have a facilitator, make sure you have a template, make sure you start with the time boxing each part of the session, and make sure that you identify at least one process improvement or the thing that you want to change in the next sprint. That way, you would be able to start something, iterate as you go, and make it better every sprint retrospective. I hope you like this video, and I hope you find something beneficial. If you do, subscribe to my channel, as I'm going to share more videos with you. Thank you for watching.